Assalamu alaikum, I'm Sonia Rahman Qureshi and I hope you know you're watching The First Blast. Great having you on the show with us today. We have done a lot of shows in the past in which we have focused on companies. What do they want when they are employing people? What are they looking for in young candidates, young graduates? We thought it would be really interesting to do a show in which we focus on the graduates themselves and people who are jumping jobs and give them the perspective of what companies are actually looking for, what they need to be prepared for, how they need to prepare their CV, the interview, how to project themselves, how important it is to research the company that you're going to go and interview with. A lot coming up on the show. I don't want to give it all away. Please go and have a look at the sneak peek. And you know the drill, join us again in the studio afterwards. Your CV, your resume, your portfolio when you're applying.
A lot of CVs are actually trashed.
I don't know the answer to this, but I'm willing to learn.
If a person is actually sitting like this, it means that he is asking you to give them a job as soon as possible.
Past behavior is a prediction of your future behavior as well.
In the interview, you should present yourself as the ideal candidate for this position.
Yeah, I got it.
Every company has its own dress code and culture of dressing.
He comes from a good family, you know.
I know, I don't understand that
I
here.
love it. This is not a marriage bureau, but
Welcome back from the break. Thank you so much for staying on the show with us. As you know, we have covered this subject on a lot of shows, but what we've done is we've taken the perspective of the employer and we've spoken to a lot of people about what kind of employee they're looking for, what kind of recruits they're looking for. But this time round, we're actually focusing on the young recruits and telling them or trying to inform them that it is as important for them to know what company they're applying to. Do they fit into that company? What is the corporate culture of that place? And also to go there very informed. You should not be clueless in your interview, which is why we have Fahad Khan in the studio with us today. Hi, Fahad.
How you doing?
Thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us. You are Head of Business Development at Laxon. Okay, so you're the perfect person to talk to for this. How important is your CV, your resume, your portfolio when you're applying to a company and to actually customize it to the company that you're applying to?
I would start with that question, actually, and you did the right thing. A CV or a resume is actually the first step towards applying for a job.
Okay.
And I think that is the most important and the most crucial step. Okay. Because if, for example, if it's a fresh candidate or if it's an experienced candidate, in any case, if you are unable to sell yourself to a particular company, then you're unable to deliver anything when you're on job. For example, if it's a fresh candidate, he or she should look into the areas that he or she has as far as the expertise is concerned. Okay. Going through the educational areas, if there's any research done, if there is any internships done, should be highlighted on the CV. A CV is more of a fact the first step, because a lot of CVs do come in to recruiters via recruitment agencies or directly to the employer. And a lot of CVs are actually trashed because of the fact that the CVs are not up to the mark or they are not as per the standard formats, or a lot of stuff that is desired by the employer is not mentioned in the CV.
What is that fine line? What makes the difference between the CV that you would give a second look to and the one that you would just put aside?
There are three things. I'll start with the fresh candidate area. If there is a fresh candidate, he or she should put up a picture first on the CV. That is my opinion. Okay. My first job, actually, my CV was selected because I had a picture on it, and my country manager informed me that it was due to the fact that there were pictures on certain CVs he shortlisted from the usual lot that he got.
Okay, can I just interrupt you here and clarify the fact that that is also because then they can put a face to the name?
Absolutely.
It is not how attractive or unattractive you are, or I mean, in case people get the wrong impression that, oh, tasveer lagane se you're getting the job. It just means that they can connect a face and a personality to a name.
Absolutely.
Right? Is that it?
The second part, the second point actually why the picture is important is a picture speaks louder than 1,000 words.
Okay.
A picture with proper background, with proper attire of the person. Not that much is going to be shown via the picture, but it should represent what sort of a person it is. Especially when a person is applying for a sales or a marketing position, or more on the position that he or she is going to look towards the client side or being a customer service representative. He or she should represent himself via the picture that he is the perfect person for this job.
For that.
As far as the other areas for a fresh candidate is concerned, the areas should not highlight all those things that usually people do in their spare time in their education.
Oh, thank you so much for saying that, because you know the extracurricular activities, I mean, have us laughing in splits. They literally have us in splits.
Absolutely.
Because it's like reading, watching television, listening to music, and you're like, oh my God.
I'll give you an example of my first interview actually. I applied for a company that manufactures UPS.
Okay.
And in Karachi. I went there and my CV actually showed a lot of computer softwares that I was working on, Corel Draw. I mean, it was like 10 years ago. So it was more of a fact that I was trying to put everything on my CV. Corel Draw was there, Photoshop 5.5 was there, and it was giving a very negative outlook of what my actual areas of expertise were, because I was applying for a sales and marketing position. And the CV was showing that I'm more on the computer side. And the guy asked me that question and he said that, are you, if you are going to be provided with an opportunity to go for a computers or a computer area related job, will you go for it? I mean, that question actually came into his mind because my CV was reflecting all those areas.
that, yeah.
And I didn't do it. I mean, I didn't get the job, but I removed all those areas in my next interview and I got the job.
And you got the job.
And I got the job.
So that's a good point actually,
Absolutely.
to not highlight the things that will actually deviate from the focus of what you're applying for. Okay, now this is something that is a pet peeve of mine, because you know a lot of people go in for interviews and they do not know about the company that they're applying for. So how important is that to go check the company online, to know what they do, how many businesses they have, or what are the different aspects, departments, what their culture is? Isn't it really essential?
It's very important. It's very important because if you're applying in Pakistan, that is the most important thing, because you need to know what the company is actually doing, get your facts straight and get as much information as possible. Nowadays, the world is so small, you either can go to one of the forums out there, or you can go to one of the groups out there, or you can go tweeting, or you can go doing LinkedIn, or there are a lot of other areas that you can actually get the information about the company. Plus, for fresh graduates, I would say that if they're applying for a company, they should know what benefit they can get from that company when it comes to enhancing their career. If they're fresh graduates, they need to get into something that is going to enhance their career for future. They're not going to stick to that particular job for all their lives.
You mentioned LinkedIn. Is it good to post your resume and all on those as well?
LinkedIn is more of a professional networking site.
It is a professional network.
At the time when I pasted my profile on it, I thought it's just like another high five or Facebook kind of stuff. But this is more on the professional side, way too much. The areas that I am working on in my company right now, it is all the areas, all the sales, all the major clients, local clients and international clients, specifically on the GCC area. I actually got all the information from LinkedIn. All the contacts were from LinkedIn. We are actually partnering with a company in Saudi Arabia, and that contact came from LinkedIn. It is very important.
Very important.
Very important.
Okay, that's okay. Well, I hope you get that. It is very important. So there's no compromise on that one as far as Fahad is concerned. Okay. How important is it? It says here that see if the company fits your needs. How important is it to also know that, okay, it's not just getting the job. It's like you were mentioning, if you want to develop a career, you might not be there for the rest of your life, but you do want to cultivate, what's the right word for it, a career, right? You don't just want to get the job and just not know what's doing or not be proactive or productive in that job.
There are multiple approaches for a candidate when the candidate is looking for an answer for this question. If it's a fresh graduate, the need is a start, a jump start or a kickstart for a better career. It's very important to identify what sort of a company it is. Are they going to give them a proper career boost? Are they going to give them a chance to excel what they're actually trying to excel in, they enhance their existing skills? If it's an experienced candidate, I would say they're probably looking into some sort of on the remuneration side, better package, better expected salaries, other benefits, car, laptop, cell phones, all the other.
More responsibility, maybe less politics.
Politics. That's a very important thing. There are a lot of areas that there are a lot of candidates who are actually easy when it comes to blending with organizations, when it comes to organizations having political atmosphere. The most important thing is at every stage of the career, that how you can excel in your life, how you can be a better person when it comes to enhancing your own skills, and how you are going to blend in with the day-to-day necessities of yours.
And the personalities that you have to deal with.
Absolutely.
Because that's a very important aspect of work as well, isn't it? That, Is it also important, if you have that possibility, to find people who are already part of that organization and talk to them and ask them what kind of a company it is, what kind of personalities people have there, what's the corporate culture?
That if that can be done, that is a really good thing. A lot of placement departments in various universities are actually having information about their own candidates getting hired by organizations, and I should recommend this to universities, that they should arrange seminars or sessions of their organized by or presented by their own candidates, of their own students who are actually working in different organizations. Then they come up and present what their companies are all about. Major organizations, multinationals, bigger chains, they should come up and tell them what the experiences are, and I would say that is a very important thing.
Very important. With that, I'm sorry, Fahad, we have to interrupt you for a second. We do have to go on commercial breaks. Just a short commercial break. Please don't go too far. Join us again in the studio afterwards. Welcome back from the break. Thank you so much for staying on the show with us. We're talking to Fahad Khan, who is Head of Business Development Division at Laxon Business Solutions. We were talking about companies, especially the big multinationals, not just even the multinationals, but some of the larger companies. They go, or they use either headhunters or they go themselves and look for young graduates, let's say. I mean, I know as far as, IB and LUMS are concerned, they're pretty taken care of because, you know what you're expecting most of the time. But a lot of the other universities have no such opportunities. So what does one do? Where does one get that exposure? Because you don't really have mentoring in a lot of these universities.
Even if there is no mentoring in these universities, there's still a chance to, because there is a huge world outside the university arena as well. You have forums, you have sessions, you have seminars, you have conferences organized by multinationals, companies, or people coming in, trainers providing trainings. There are a lot of forums that you can go to, and
where can one get information on these?
It's online. Everything's online.
It is online.
Even if the university arena is a bit limited, there still is a bulletin board service on each university. And you can get information, you can get job postings from there.
We talked about the CV, and obviously now if your CV is good and you sort of pass that hurdle and you get your foot in the door. That's what everyone says, that, a good CV actually gets your foot in the door. And the next stage is how you present yourself and your interview. How important is body language? People tend to forget to talk about confidence and body language. Confidence, and then there's overconfidence. So is there a difference there as well, and what's more successful?
I would give my example in this regard. I've been in the industry for almost like 9-10 years. And I'm very, very strict when it comes to the interviews. I've been doing recruitment myself for my divisions and for other divisions with the organizations that I was working in, and the current one as well. Presentation, since I'm looking into business development and sales and marketing, presentation is very crucial, very important. It's not the fact that you have to wear designer stuff, but you should know that the color combinations should match.
Okay.
The clothing should be ironed, should be pressed, should be proper. There shouldn't be dirt on your shoe toes. Your body language is very important. If a person is actually sitting like this, it means that he is asking you to give them a job as soon as possible. But if you're more relaxed, if you're sitting down with your back to the chair, it means that you're more confident. Your eye movements, your hand movements. If a person is folding their hands, it means that he's trying to be defensive. All these things are very important. If a person is sitting there and he's trying to give an answer in English all the time, if he is not able to give answers in English, he should not continue doing that. He should move to
Urdu.
I mean, it shows confidence. They should show confidence. Personality is very important. The attire is very important. Grooming is very important. Hair is very important. The thing is that if you are unable to speak in English, it's not the fact. I mean, you should know the answer. You should know the answer to that. And if you're unable to give a proper answer, you should not give the answer. I mean, because the person sitting on the other side of the table is not new to the industry.
How important also is it, if you just don't know the answer, can you turn around and say, I don't know the answer to this, but I'm willing to learn? Like, what's the, that's okay as well, rather than, like you said, don't give the incorrect answer or the wrong answer, but it's... It's just the fact that that interview is actually the second step to, and probably the last step to get a job. When a person is actually giving the interview, he or she should look into how he is going to handle multiple areas of a personality and professionally as well. If a person is not able to give the answer, he or she, as you mentioned, he or she should show willingness to learn, and he or she should show that he is looking into grasping more and getting more into this particular area that he's unable to give answer for. And he is okay to accept the fact that he is unable to give the answer, because this is very important. That is important. We talked about how important it is to dress properly. You said, to look clean and clean cut and be pressed and all. How important also is it to understand the, every company has its own dress code and culture of dressing. How important is it to understand that? And I mean, if you're applying for maybe not a multinational, but you're applying for a young IT company, should you go in dress smartly, but in maybe a, like a golf shirt and slacks rather than a suit? Because sometimes you feel very out of place if you're overdressed as well for some interviews. Or for an interview, is it just a tie and a suit?
It depends what position you're actually applying for.
Okay.
If you're applying for a position, my perception is to dress a step over that particular position. For example, if you're applying for an assistant manager position, you should have the idea what a manager should dress like, and you should dress like a manager, because this shows the approach, this shows the openness of your mind. A lot of people usually come into the idea that if you're a graphic designer or if you're a software developer, wo chappalein bhi chal jati hain. That's not the fact. It's in the interview you should present yourself as the ideal candidate for this position. What I usually do is I go to universities myself, and I do seminars, and I do sessions, I do guest lectures, and let people know what exactly the real world looks like instead of what the textbook looks like.
And there is a huge difference there.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I was actually in US prior to coming back to Pakistan in 2006, and the difference that I see is something that I feel I should let people know what exactly is going out in the market, what exactly the entire world is doing. It's not just dressing up right, or it's not just shining your shoes, it's the attitude. It's the attitude, it's the personal approach, it's the mental approach that you have to look into. And also, since we are dealing with